Hello and welcome to another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Connor Moreno, lead writer for UCLA Bruins on SI. And today, we have a good amount of news to get to, but I think I'm just going to focus on one thing, and that is the preseason coaches polls came out. Obviously, it's not it's not crazy to assume that the Bruins aren't going to be receiving any votes from the coaches on that poll. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is that a plethora of UCLA's opponents are on the rankings. So I kind of wanted to talk about which opponents, when the Bruins play against them, how they're projected against them, and how their opponents are basically going to do this season. It's going to be a long list, surprisingly. 12 games, obviously 9 conference games, but everyone that received votes or that are on the top 25 weren't just conference teams. They weren't just Big Ten conference teams. There are a few. I'll say there are 2 of the 3 of UCLA's non-conference opponents went ahead and received votes. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, we're going to go to the 3 teams that are on UCLA's schedule that made it into the top 5. Now, let me pull it up real quick. All right, so, and this is the coaches poll, preseason coaches poll. I think this was CBS. Yeah, CBS Sports. So coming in at number 2 is Ohio State. They play against UCLA in Week 12. It'll be an away game for the Bruins. So obviously the Buckeyes are coming off of a national title, and of course they're going to be ranked number 2. Sorry, wait. Let me see who number 1 was. Sorry, I should have had this prepared. Yeah, number 1 was Texas. So obviously Texas, you got Arch Manning over there. But number 2 is the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. You got Ryan Day. He can coach, a little bit more freely now. This is according to Nick Costco for On3. He kind of did a little bit of a summary of the people in the top 25. You got Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. Obviously, they're not too sure who's going to be playing under center, but it's Ohio State. They're always going to be a really good team. They play against UCLA in Week 12, and that is just one of the many highly regarded opponents for UCLA. And speaking of which, right below Ohio State at number 3 is Penn State. The Nittany Lions, they play in the Rose Bowl against UCLA in Week 6, and pretty much are running it back with the same team, according to Costco. Drew Aller leads the charge. You got Nick Singleton and Katrin Allen in the backfield right there. Their defense is very elite. This is probably going to be it's not UCLA's first Big Ten game. They play against Northwestern before Penn State, but this is going to be likely their first conference loss of the season. So yeah, they are definitely not favored in this matchup against the Nittany Lions. And then you have to scroll all the way down for UCLA's next opponent. I mean, I wouldn't say all the way down. The top 25, but it's the last top 25 team on UCLA's schedule. We've got Indiana, and they are hosting the Bruins on Week 9. Now, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, Indiana is expected to be a formidable team in the Big Ten Conference. I mean, according to this list, they're going to be one of the top teams in the nation in the Big Ten. But they come in at 19th on the coaches poll. You've got the ESPN Football Power Index, the FPI. Has them winning a projected 8.1 games, 5.2 of those games being in the Big Ten, which is actually crazy because, you wouldn't expect an 8-win team to only win 5 conference games, but that's how stacked the Big Ten is this year. And ESPN has them as the 23rd ranked team in college football, according to their football power index, but obviously the coaches think a lot more highly of the Hoosiers. And yeah, they play against UCLA in week 9, which, by the way, UCLA's conference schedule kind of going in, I thought maybe they could win. I thought maybe they could win 5 conference games, with the losses being obviously Penn State, Ohio State, probably USC, probably Indiana. But there are a lot more really, really good and tough teams in the conference, as we'll see. So yeah, that's all the teams on UCLA's schedule that is ranked within the top 25, but a ton of the remaining teams on UCLA's schedule also received votes for the top 25, but didn't make it to the top 25. So let's move on to USC. They received votes, and based on their voting, they were ranked the 29th team by the coaches in the nation. Obviously, they play against UCLA in the Coliseum in Week 14, which is Rivals Week, the last game of the season for UCLA. This one's going to have a ton of implications, especially if UCLA drops a few games early in the year and kind of can't get their footing right. This game very well could be the deciding factor between if the Bruins get in a bowl game or not. And according to ESPN's FPI, USC is going to be a slightly worse team than it was last season, but they're still winning a projected 7.2 games, 5.2 in the Big Ten, and they're actually ranked 30th according to ESPN, the 30th team in college football. So that stacks up. They're 29th according to the coaches poll. So yeah, and then you move on right next to them, Utah, a Big 12 team. They play at UCLA to open the season week 1, and they were ranked 30th, so they received a ton of votes. I think there was a media poll that I saw that actually ranked Utah 17th, which is absolutely bonkers. But the coaches obviously don't think too highly of Utah, but obviously do think highly because they're ranked 30th. And that'll be I think week 1 will be one of UCLA's 2 or 3 most important games of the season. It could be even the most important, which is why I said 2 or 3. But it could be even the most important because you're coming into the season with a ton of momentum, and everyone wants to prove themselves. Coming out of camp, people are saying that they're going to be one of the better teams in the Big Ten, especially better than last year. I think everyone expects them to be better than last year. But you're opening the season against Utah, which is Utah is one of the most highly regarded teams in college football, and you're hosting it. If you can win against Utah, you have UNLV the next week, and then New Mexico the week after that, and then Northwestern the week after that. If you beat Utah, you could very well see the Bruins starting the season 4-0. Very well. I'm not going to put that in pen, but I mean, Utah's a very important game. And, according to ESPN's FBI, Utah is expected to win 7.9 games this year. And they're also the 31st ranked team heading into the season, so lines up pretty well with what the coaches think. And let's move on quickly. We're running out of time. Down in 39th, you have Nebraska. They play at UCLA on week 11. So they received votes as well. According to ESPN's FPI, they're winning a projected 7.5 games this year. 4.8 in the Big Ten, and they're 34th in college football. And then we move down a couple spots to number 41, Washington. They play at UCLA in week 13, and according to the FPI, they're probably going to be the same level of team as UCLA, winning a projected 6.3 games and only 3.8 in the Big Ten, being the 39th ranked team in college football. And then lastly, which is, we talked about it right after the Utah game, you have a 47th, UNLV actually received votes as well. They play against UCLA in Las Vegas in week 2. Now, They in the Mountain West, ESPN, their FBI expects UNLV to win a projected 7.8 games, but only be the 75th ranked team in college football. So that's the biggest jump that we're seeing in these coaches polls and ESPN's FPI, because the coaches have them the 47th, and then ESPN just has them 75th. So I mean, yeah, UCLA has a ton of work cut out for them this season. I think I was a little bit more optimistic about their schedule going into the season. I still think they're gonna, get to a bowl game. I initially had their win total at 7 or 8. I think I'm kind of souring on that a little bit more, just as we move forward and as we see, what the consensus thinks about these teams. So, yeah, UCLA has a truly, a daunting schedule, a gauntlet that they have to go through. So, yeah, that's going to be all that we have for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow.